The story began with a letter. On Issa's third day in Paris, the hotel front desk handed her a manila envelope. There were no photos inside, no keepsakes, just a bank account number and a few short lines. The last sentence read, "I will always be with you somewhere else." 6 months earlier, Isa had applied for a nanny job, but the moment she sat down, her skirt ripped right open. To avoid the embarrassment, she tied her jacket around her waist. Just as she thought she had gone unnoticed, the lady of the house's husband walked out and greeted her warmly. Faced with the wealthy man's friendliness, Isa's attempt to cover her thigh didn't escape the wife's notice, so she decided to hire this seemingly down-to-earth girl. The job paid well, and the work itself was simple. All she had to do was keep her paralyzed son company and chat with him. Hearing that Isa couldn't hide her excitement. What she didn't know, though, was that she was celebrating way too soon. The first time she met Will, she was shocked by how strange he looked. It wasn't until Will casually caught a glimpse of the torn hem of her skirt that he finally stopped his earlier antics. Turns out Will didn't want a caretaker at all, and he had used that very tactic to scare off quite a few applicants before her. Isa didn't want to stay either, but her family's situation left her with no choice but to face reality. Her father had been forced out of his job, her mother needed to take care of her sick grandfather, and her sister wanted to finish college. All the weight of the household had fallen on Isa's shoulders. She had no choice but to take the job with decent pay. The next day, Will kept his eyes shut. No matter what Isa said, he gave zero response. She figured it was just another one of Will's pranks, until Will's personal doctor showed up, and she learned the truth. Will couldn't sweat like a normal person, and even a slight chill could put his life at risk. It was then that Isa noticed the scars on Will's wrists. She couldn't believe it. With all that money and not a care in the world, why would he even think about ending his life? Then one day, she overheard Will's parents arguing. That was when she found out that in 6 months, Will would be euthanized, and it was his own decision. His father wanted to respect his son's choice, but his mother just couldn't accept it. After learning the truth, Isa started losing focus. She couldn't bear to spend her days with someone who was about to leave this world. She went to her sister and told her she wanted to quit. But her sister argued that the family was barely scraping by, and now wasn't the time to walk away. Instead, Isa could use her position to try and change Will's mind about ending his life. That hit Isa like a wake-up call. Maybe her job wasn't just about being a nanny anymore. Maybe it was about saving a life. In the days that followed, every time Isa showed up in front of Will, she looked like a colorful butterfly. She hoped her own happiness could rub off on him and change his mind about giving up. Soon after, Will's ex-girlfriend and his best friend came to visit. It should have been a happy occasion, but from their conversation she learned his former girlfriend had gotten together with his best friend. Will tried his best to keep a straight face, acting like it didn't bother him. But after they left, he shattered the old picture frames, and along with them, the memories of his youth. After work, Isa rushed to tell her boyfriend all about it. She just wanted to vent about Will's heartbreaking situation. But her boyfriend brushed it off like it was a joke, even making a crude remark about how Will could have kids. The next day at work, Isa took it upon herself to fix the broken photo frames, hoping to surprise Will. But to her surprise, not only did Will not show any joy, he actually fired off a bunch of harsh, cutting words at her. Isa fired right back at his mean comments, making it clear she was only there because it was her job. That was the first time Isa ever stood up to Will. But from that day on, Will started seeing her differently. He actually wanted to know more about her. That night, he invited her to watch a movie together. Will's eyes kept drifting over to Isa every now and then. When the movie ended, Isa was still completely lost in it. He asked if she liked it, and she said she absolutely loved it. A small smile tugged at the corner of Will's mouth. He hadn't expected her to share his taste. And little by little, their relationship began to shift. Isa stopped being so careful and guarded around him, and Will slowly started smiling again, something he hadn't done in a long time. As the weather got colder, Will caught another chill. That night, Isa didn't go home. They each opened up about their happy memories and embarrassing moments from the past. Isa told him that when she was little, her mom bought her a pair of yellow bumblebee tights, and she loved them so much she never wanted to take them off. Too bad she could never find them again. Will filed that little detail away in his memory, and their hearts began to inch closer to each other. She thought life would just go on like that, simple and ordinary. But then a letter came from Switzerland, and it shattered the peace. Will still hadn't let go of his plan for euthanasia, and Isa found herself sinking into a deep, unexplained pain. To make Will change his mind about ending his life, Isa decided to help him live the rest of his life to the fullest, hoping that a beautiful experience might make him want to stay. The next day, she went to Will's mother with a tentative hope. When she told them she wanted to create a bucket list for Will, both his parents actually gave her their blessing. Isa took Will to a concert, and her outfit and beauty caught Will's eye the moment he saw her. But while they were waiting for the show to start, Will's neck got caught on a clothing tag. Ignoring the strange looks from everyone around them, Isa actually leaned in and tried to bite the tag off with her teeth. As the music began to play, Isa got completely swept up in the moment. This was her first time at such a grand concert. But Will's eyes kept drifting back to Isa, sitting right next to him. When the concert was over, Will lingered in the car, unwilling to get out. They just sat there in silence, as if this was the only moment where he could feel even a shred of his old dignity. Soon it was Isa's birthday, and Will was invited to her home to celebrate. But halfway through the party, Isa's boyfriend finally showed up, taking his sweet time. When he saw Isa feeding Will so tenderly and wiping food from the corner of his mouth, a wave of jealousy washed over him. After dinner, everyone gave Isa their carefully chosen birthday gifts. Her boyfriend's gift was supposed to be special, but when she opened the box, the necklace had his own name on it. Maybe he loved Isa, but it seemed like he loved himself a little more. Then came Will's gift. Just the elegant blue box alone already outshone her boyfriend's present. When she opened it, inside was a pair of the bumblebee tights she loved so much. There was no denying it. Will had really put thought into it, and Isa couldn't stop smiling from ear to ear. After all that, her boyfriend's jealousy only grew stronger. So before he left, he made a point of pulling Isa into a tight embrace. The next day, Will received a letter. It was his ex-girlfriend's wedding invitation. The day before the wedding, they visited an old castle. It was his favorite place as a kid, and also where he first met his ex-girlfriend. Soon the wedding day arrived, but seeing his ex in her wedding dress still stirred a pang of sadness in Will's heart. If that accident had never happened, maybe things would have turned out differently. During a break at the wedding, an older, worldly wise woman remarked, "The bride didn't have good taste. The groom might look strong, but he wasn't a good man." While Will, despite his disability, was a man of real character. When it was time to dance, Isa sat right on Will's lap in front of everyone. They swayed together in the middle of the dance floor. In that moment, they looked just like a real couple. She thought they would wake up the next day and leave for their trip as planned. But when morning came, Will had caught a chill that turned into pneumonia. Because of his condition, even a mild infection could turn serious. She called his name softly, but Will seemed too weak to respond. That was when Isa truly realized just how fragile his body really was. Even his doctor, who had cared for him for 2 years, said he had gotten pneumonia 4 times in those 2 years, and he would often dream about running or skiing, only to wake up and feel crushed all over again. Isa planned to take him on another mysterious journey once he recovered. This time, though, she wanted the doctor to come along too, and the doctor agreed. But Isa's boyfriend was dead set against her plan, insisting her concern for Will had gone way beyond her job description. Isa just told him that Will needed her, and maybe her boyfriend finally understood something. Even though they had been together for 7 years, he had given her very little real care. Soon they set off on their trip and arrived in beautiful Hawaii. Her 6-month contract was nearly up, and she hoped that this relaxed, beautiful place might change Will's mind. The doctor was in charge of trying out all the activities, while Isa stayed by Will's side, enjoying the gentle sea breeze and soaking in the warm sunshine together. That night, a heavy rainstorm suddenly poured down, but Will didn't want to close the doors and windows. In that moment, he cherished every last second of nature's presence. Then Isa offered to fix his bedding before heading back to her room, but Will asked her to stay. Outside, the wind howled and thunder crashed, but inside, the quiet love between them had already begun to warm the room. The next day, at Will's suggestion, Isa tried scuba diving for the first time. She never expected it to feel so incredible. And this trip, instead of Isa taking Will out to cheer him up, it almost felt like Will wanted to show Isa a bigger, wider world. But happy times never last long enough. That evening, Isa danced by the seaside. Her clumsy moves made Will laugh out loud. In that moment, Isa truly believed that Will would never give up on living again. Isa tried to convince Will not to go through with it, because over the past 6 months, she had become a completely new person. But that very fact was exactly why Will didn't want to hold her back, or become a burden to anyone. He still hadn't changed his mind about euthanasia. The next day, they began their journey home. And Isa, who was usually all smiles and chatter, didn't say a single word the whole way back, even though he was right there. Soon they arrived home safely, and seeing their son's face so full of joy, his parents thought he had changed his mind. His father excitedly invited Isa to stay for dinner, but Isa, heartbroken, turned and walked away. And that was when they realized things probably hadn't gone well. When she got home, her sister took one look at her exhausted face and already knew the outcome. Maybe only her sister truly understood what Isa had given over those 6 months. Being unable to change Will's decision sent Isa into an abyss of grief. Her father told her that changing someone else was never easy, and if she couldn't change him, then she might as well love him the best she could. So with a heavy heart, she set out on the final journey to say goodbye to the man she loved. This was Will's last wish. But when she finally gathered her courage and knocked on the door, she found that no one seemed as sad as she had expected. Maybe, when facing Will's choice, the only way to truly love him was to face it with grace and acceptance. Isa opened the door, and the sunlight fell softly across Will's face. They held each other tight, and Isa drank in the feeling of his heartbeat and warmth, unable to say a word. But Will instead quietly hummed a children's song that Isa had sung before. He had already committed every little thing about her to memory. For him, maybe this was the only way to love them, and to love himself the best way he knew how. Seasons passed, and before long the greenest leaf, after going through the test of time, turned from green to yellow and finally drifted down with the wind, just like Will. And Isa, carrying Will's dreams with her, came to the city he had always longed for, Paris. There she received the letter Will had left for her. It said, "When you get home, you'll find a bank account. There's enough in there for you to start a new life. My dear, go live your life boldly. Move forward with courage and wear your favorite tights with pride. Don't miss me too much, because I don't want to make you sad. Live well. I'll always be with you somewhere else. Yours, Will."